Hi, everybody. It's Olivia with Freedom at the Mat. And today we are joined by a wonderful, beautiful, glorious light of the world. Her name is Liv Taylor. And we're going to talk today about living with grace. Grace, for a really long time, has been my favorite word of all time. And I want to talk to her because her whole platform is around living with grace. So, if you don't mind, join me right now as we introduce into our chamber holistic wellness advocate, Liv Taylor. Liv, how are you?
Hi, I'm so grateful to be here. How are you?
I'm blessed and I'm well, and I'm really grateful that you made time to join us today. So, we keep these pretty tight. People are on the go, living busy lives. I've got some really basic questions for you. Can you tell us more about your journey and why you've decided to dedicate a big part of what you do on earth to helping others live with grace and why you've chosen to live with grace in your life?
Certainly. So I love that you said that grace is one of your favorite words of all time. It's one of my favorite words as well. So before I was graceful, before I was mindful, before I was a yogi practitioner or instructor, um, I was not so graceful. I guess, I don't want to say disgraceful, but I moved in a way that I wasn't flowing with grace. So I used to deal with depression. I dealt with anxiety. I suffered from panic attacks. I was slight OCD, type A, linear, like everything had to be a certain way. And then in 2014, I feel like I had a spiritual awakening. Like I was called to stop a lot of the things I had been doing. I quit the last job I would ever work. I separated from the military. I finished with school, and I was just at a point where I was searching for something more within myself. And I started practicing yoga, and almost immediately, the benefits of slowing down, of breathing, of connecting mind, body, and breath, it just rippled into every aspect of my life. So I started practicing yoga almost every day. And then 6 months after that, I was going to yoga teacher training. That completely transformed my life because I realized that yoga was beyond the mat. Yoga was beyond the physical postures. Yoga is how you live your life. Yoga is how you speak to others and how you speak to yourself. Yoga is how you look after your body, it's what you eat, it's everything. It's
I'm coming in. I'm only coming in because I'm over here in the background being like so over the top around this. And there's so many people who are still on a journey, including myself, where we have to constantly remind ourselves this is a commitment to a lifestyle. Anyway, carry on. I'm sorry. You were
No, that's perfect. It's a practice. It's not yoga perfect. It's a practice. And so practice is something that we have to tend to daily, often, consistently, routinely to be able to reap the benefits of the practice. So once I realized I just got chills. Once I realized the benefits that yoga had in my life in such a short amount of time, I was like, more people need to have access to this, to a space where it's just you and you. It's
Mhm.
you and you, and it's you without distractions, and it's you being able to connect mind, body, and breath, which is what the word yoga means, to unite, to join mind, body, and breath. And so I went to an immersive yoga teacher training for 4 weeks. I lived a yogic lifestyle. We woke up at 5:30. We meditated 3 times a day. We ate a vegan or plant-based diet, and after I came home, like everything was just changed. And a year later, I was opening my first yoga and wellness center in North Mississippi, which is where I'm from. And it just rippled from there. So I credit a lot of the grace and the presence and the peace in my life currently, presently today, I credit that to my yoga practice. So from practicing and making it a lifestyle.
Can you just tell us how do you define the word grace? I feel like it's a word that is elusive, Liv.
It is. I feel like if you asked me that each time, my answer would be different, but it would describe the same thing. But I feel like grace is ease. Grace is peace. Grace is flow. Grace is softness and surrender. Grace is peace.
Liv, you are the undisputed hope dealer. Your entire platform, Live So Graceful, is around how to live gracefully. I understand you have some very specific ways that you espouse around how we can live our lives with grace. Will you share those with us?
So I have the four P's with a bonus P. So practice, presence, and a peaceful pace. Practice, presence, peaceful pace. And then all of these require patience. So the five P's would be the ingredients that are needed to make that balanced recipe of grace. And I say that because life is a practice. Yoga is a practice. You're never going to wake up and master life. You're never going to wake up one day and master yoga. It's a practice. And so, grace is a practice that we can invite into our everyday life within every moment of every day. Practicing presence. How fully present can we be within each moment? Because the mind likes to linger in the past, it likes to wander towards the future, but only when we are fully present are we fully capable of tapping into the power to create what it is that we desire. So, grace requires us to be present. Um, Peaceful pace. Peaceful, full of peace. Is what I'm doing, saying, how I'm moving, how I'm thinking, is this contributing to my peace? How do I feel? Am I allowing myself, am I inviting myself to be peaceful? And I feel like peace is a great component of grace. And then the pace at which we move through something. Grace isn't something you rush through or force through. Grace allows us and invites us to slow down, to nurture, to tune in, to be more easeful and peaceful in our approach of it. And then ultimately, the last or the bonus P is patience. Being patient with ourselves allows us to be more patient with others. Being patient in our practice allows us to be more steady in our practice. Being patient in our presence, knowing that all things are aligning just as they should, and that patience is a virtue. And then, yeah, moving at a peaceful pace, a patient pace. So those are the P's that I have: practice, presence, peaceful pace. And then the bonus one is patience.
Thank you so much. I cannot wait to begin to work on the patience part of it. Right? That's the one, like, the practice presence. When I'm teaching my yoga classes, I'm always about stay present, focus on the inner,
Yeah.
all that, stay present. I'm getting pretty good on moving through life, staying present. Peaceful pace. I love that. The patience, I've been struggling with that one for a really long time. So it leads to my next question. So, one, I would love for you to share with other people who are eager like myself, if you have any recommendations on how we can find more patience and bring more patience to our lives. And then I'll hold for one additional question after
Okay. So patience is really just an opportunity for us to exercise our faith. There's a picture behind me that says, faith tells me that no matter what lies ahead on my path, God is already there. And sometimes lack of patience is really just showing us where we desire to have control. Whereas faith requires us to have trust in a higher power, higher source, to believe and to know that everything is aligning as it should and in our favor. So I feel like a great way to practice patience is to practice presence. In order for us to be present, in order for us to be peaceful, we have to take our time. And so, meditation or just slowing down and being with yourself without distractions, whether it's a sitting meditation, whether it's a walking meditation, whether it's a moving meditation like yoga or Tai Chi, those things allow us to slow down. And when we slow down with ourselves and savor the sweetness of being present, of knowing that this moment is just as it should be, and the next moment will arrive when it needs to, just like our breath. The inhale is followed by the exhale, which is followed by the inhale. The more patient we are with ourselves in our daily lives, the more we can extend that patience outward. And when we feel that our patience is being tested or tried, that is also an opportunity for us to slow down, to practice presence, and to move at a peaceful pace, which is just, again, extending ourselves grace. I think it's a never ending cycle.
No, I love it. Beautiful. Thank you so much for blessing me with that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Because I love the quote that you have behind you, because I do believe that I don't worry about much anymore because I believe that everything is already worked out. I just
Yeah.
have to kind of live through my life and all the answers will present themselves. So, just one additional question with maybe a bonus because I said one more, but you know. So, many of us have to live our lives with people who have hurt us. And I'm kind of melding the concept of forgiveness with grace.
Yes.
But do you have any advice for those of us who are having to live our daily lives, extending grace to other people because they may not be well? You and I both know the quote, hurt people hurt other people. So, me adding more fire back to someone who's hurt me isn't going to necessarily solve the problem. I need to give them grace. I need to figure out a way to protect myself. But how do we give grace to others who have hurt us? Whether it is perhaps a family member who said something to you or did something to hurt you because they were working from a hurt place. Perhaps it's a coworker who was operating from a fearful space that did something to hurt you. But I think we're all, as light workers, and who want to live peaceful lives, we have to find a way to extend grace to other people, even when we perhaps haven't forgiven them or gotten over it just yet. And that was a long question, but
No, that was a beautiful question. And I feel like this question is the root of a lot of people's hurt and a lot of trauma, which I like to substitute the word trauma for patterns because a lot of times um, a trauma is just that it's a pattern that has been repeated. And sometimes the best way to unlock something is to grant yourself grace. So whether it's unlocking anger, unforgiveness, resentment, unworthiness, grace can really help us unlock a lot of those things because ultimately we can't extend to someone else what we've yet to extend to ourselves. We can't treat others better than we treat ourselves. So, grace is something that we can practice personally first. Um, and like you said, forgiveness, ultimately, forgiveness is not for other people, forgiveness is for you. And if you can realize and understand how challenging it can be for you as an individual to show up as your best self, as your highest self, as your most graceful self, just within your daily life, then I feel like it makes it simpler, easier to extend that to others. Not to say that you agree with what they have done or said or how they made you feel, but you can hold space for it in a way that it doesn't allow you to take it personally and leave a bad taste in your mouth because ultimately that only affects you. And as you said, hurt people hurt people. Someone who hurts another, someone who inflicts pain on another, they are hurting deeply. how people treat you is a reflection of how they treat themselves. And so if someone speaks unkindly to you, if they act unkindly towards you, imagine what their inner dialogue is like. Imagine how they treat themselves. And when you take the time to pause, practice presence, pause before you want to react, take a deep breath, center yourself, and just acknowledge, would a healthy person move in that way? Would a healed person speak that way? And once you see that person is hurting, I feel like it helps us to take things less personally and to just offer grace, while they're navigating through their healing journey. That doesn't mean we have to be up close and personal with it, because sometimes you have to love people from a distance and set those boundaries to honor yourself. But even that requires grace.
The end. There's nothing more I could ask of you. I feel this conversation is whole and complete, with the exception of you sharing with us any new initiatives you have that we can support you as a community, and where you would like for us to follow you to get more from Liv Taylor.
Yes. Okay. So my Instagram is live so graceful, LIV so graceful. My website is livesograceful.com. My YouTube, my Twitter, all that stuff is live so graceful.
I'm hopeful that this conversation with Liv Taylor was insightful and it was inspiring to help you begin to live a life with more grace. Grace is, I believe, one of the best ways for us to navigate things that happen to us here on earth. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can only control how we respond. And having grace and peace and remaining present is a real surefire way of living life a little bit more easily. I pray that God be with you, and let's make sure that we support and follow Liv Taylor at Live So Graceful. I'll see you soon.